Hello again, fairy tale lovers. It's me, Scarlett Cole, and time again for another Kingdom Confidential. This one is kind of special to me because it's the books that I was involved in as the guest author. I was super excited to get to write a story based on Beauty and the Beast because if you can't tell, I kind of wanted to be Belle. She's smart, she's beautiful, and has a handsome prince, albeit a furry one, who will buy her books and will dance with her. I don't know about you, but that's always been a dream for me. I think I was born to be a princess. Move over, Meghan Markle. Now that Harry's in Canada, maybe he'll just fall in love with me. All right, so by now you probably already know the drill. Grab that cup of coffee or tea or hot chocolate or whatever floats your boat, and meet me back here to get the best secrets on this season. We've already been through 3 books, King of Beasts, Heir of Beauty, and Throne of Betrayal. And this season will end with God of Illusion coming out this Wednesday. I really hope you've been enjoying this story because I absolutely loved writing it. But you don't want to hear how much I liked it. You want to hear the good stuff. So let's get to it. Confidential secret number 1. If you remember back to Azia's Kingdom Confidential, I talked about the names. J.A. Armitage named virtually every character in the series. However, I had the privilege of naming my own character. The reason for that is due to some logistical issues, we decided to move 2 characters around. So Eliana was actually supposed to be after Fallon, and Fallon was supposed to be before. But one of the other things you should remember from Azia's Kingdom Confidential video is that all of the characters are in alphabetical order. So if we mess with the order, then it messes with the characters' names. Therefore, those characters had to be renamed. At the point that the decision was made to change them around, the authors had already been assigned, so we were given the option to name the characters ourselves if we chose to. Both me and Eliana's author, Jen, decided that we wanted to name our own characters, so I came up with the name Fallon. If you look this up, Fallon is actually a unisex name used for both boys or girls, but it is Irish in origin and means leader. When I knew I'd be writing about a prince and that part of his character arc was about becoming king and accepting that role, I figured leader was a great name for him to have. Plus, it started with F, which is exactly what I needed. However, I didn't forget about the original character. I was already invested in the character before they decided to change the order. So, Fallon's father, King Ezra Balthazar of Aldrich, is named Ezra. But if you'll notice, Ezra starts with an E, which means E comes before F, and Ezra was supposed to be Fallon's real name. The other name that I had fun with this one was Veda. So Veda is Sanskrit for wisdom or knowledge, and I wanted to make sure that I picked a girl's name that had something to do with being wise and being intelligent, because if you've read so far, Veda is definitely a smart girl. Therefore, I wanted a name that reflected that. However, I couldn't decide. I also came up with the name Kea, which means wise one. However, I still couldn't decide. I thought both of them sounded fantastic, and I actually really like Kea. So what I ended up doing was I took both of those names and I put them in my reader group, Scarlett's Rebel Readers, out on Facebook, and gave them a time limit to figure out what name I was going to name this character, even though they had absolutely no idea what I was working on because I wasn't allowed to talk about this project yet. It turns out that the vote was completely split. Half the people thought Veda was the best name, and half thought it should be Kea. In the end, I still had to make the decision myself. However, I did promise that I would write a book starring a character named Kea, just for those people who voted for them. I guess I better start writing. Confidential secret number 2. Apparently, I forgot where I was writing this book. So for the entire set of 4 books, I actually spelt the name of the country incorrectly. The name of the country is Aboria, A-B-O-R-I-A, but for some reason, I had in my head that it was Arboria, A-R-B-O-R-I-A. So during edits, when I was fact-checking some of the other lands that I've included in my stories, I happened to notice that I had spelled it wrong. So I had to go back through all 4 books and change the spelling of Arboria to Aboria, the correct name. I did unfortunately miss one of them, but our fantastic beta reader group picked up on it right away and told us, so we got to fix it before it went to final copy. So for any aspiring authors out there, make sure you write down the names of your characters and the worlds that they're created in, or check them out first. Confidential secret number 3. We seem to be talking about music every time we talk about stories because it is such a huge inspiration for a lot of authors. I am a huge music buff and I constantly have playlists for all of my books, and sometimes I can't quite get into the characters until I have their theme song. For this one, the theme song for Fallon was Power Over Me by Dermot Kennedy. As soon as I heard it, I knew it fit the story exactly. The first 2 lines are, I want to be king in your story. I want to know who you are. I want your heart to beat for me. This was perfect. Fallon's arc is about becoming king and his reluctance to do so. Plus, his romance with Veda is a little rocky from the start, and he definitely has to put his heart out there to make things work. It was the perfect fit. Plus, if you've heard the song, I absolutely love Dermot Kennedy's voice. Since hearing that song and including it on this playlist, he has become one of my absolute favorite artists. If you ever do want to check him out, he's got some great songs like Lost, What Have I Done, After Rain, or A Closeness are some of my favorites. Not to mention, Dermot Kennedy is a very obvious Irish singer because you can actually hear his accent when he sings. And since Fallon is an Irish name in origin, it kind of worked. Confidential secret number 4. In book 1, you'll probably notice there's a nursery rhyme that is the key to the secret passage out of the castle, 3 Aborian Maids. This nursery rhyme obviously does not exist, considering Aboria is a fictional place that we created. So, I was the one who wrote that nursery rhyme. The only problem is, as I was writing the books, I couldn't think of anything. I came up with about 12 different rhymes, but none of them seemed to work, and in the end I ended up skipping the rhyme altogether. When I had it come back in book 4, which you haven't seen yet, but you will, I figured it was probably time to sit down and write it. I had to put the book aside, sit down, and knock out this nursery rhyme. It took me absolutely forever. It's only a few lines, but I wanted it to be memorable. Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, like most of the things that I do, I started out trying to do something light and fun and ended up getting a lot darker than I expected. If you've read it so far, you know what I'm talking about. But if not, it's something you'll definitely want to check out. Maybe if this whole YouTube thing doesn't work out for me, I can be the next Mother Goose. Confidential secret number 5. One of the things I focused a lot on in the books was the relationship between Fallon and his mother. One of the reasons for that is maybe because I have 2 boys myself, so I kind of like to see more representations of mothers and sons in books that are not completely toxic. The other thing that I wanted to do when I was writing those scenes was that I really wanted to focus on Queen Abigail, or Belle as most people would know her as. Like I said before, I think she's one of the smartest, strongest fairy tale characters out there. She has a huge heart and she takes care of the people that take care of her. I wanted to show her as a strong leader, but still show her soft and sensitive heart, plus some beautiful, beautiful dresses. I think that's something that I would totally aspire to be. Able to be the belle of the ball, a leader on the battlefield, but still a fantastic person with a good heart. And confidential secret number 6. I have an extra one. One thing I wanted to let people know was I was absolutely terrified to write these books. I've written other books before and I have other retellings as well. I've done Robin Hood. I had done The Little Mermaid at that point, and halfway through the series I wrote a Sleeping Beauty retelling. So I wasn't new to retellings, but I'd never actually written a retelling or any book that wasn't in a contemporary setting. To have to write something that was in an epic fantasy world, especially in a group of authors that had so many more books out than I did, I was really scared that my books just were not going to make the cut and I couldn't hang with cool kids. Fortunately, as J.A. was reading through all of the manuscripts, she was constantly sending me text messages on the things that she enjoyed, things that she laughed about, and it made me feel so much better. I really hope you're enjoying the books because I really enjoyed writing them. However, the process was extremely slow because I was constantly second-guessing myself and doubting that I would be able to get the manuscript out. However, I did triumph and pulled it out, and it's one of my favorite stories that I've ever written. So I really hope that you're enjoying it, and I can't wait for you guys to pick up the final installment, God of Illusion, and find out how everything plays out in the end. If you've been enjoying the world of Aboria and Fallon and Veda and the fairies, please leave a comment below and let me know what you think. Also, if you want to hear more Kingdom Confidential, see more of me, or check out the rest of the authors in the series, make sure you go through, watch the other videos we have there, and then hit the subscription bar and the notification bell to get an email every time we have a new video posted. We post every single week except for the second week of the season, to which we post a playlist of all of the songs that inspired that character or story. Until next week, I'm Scarlett Cole. Happy reading!